Yo, what's up YouTube? I wanted to make a quick video, really quick. I just wanted to get something out for you guys. And I thought it'd be really cool to show you guys what happens when you invest in the proper tools, when you are recording and making your own music. As a guitar player, I don't have access to bass. I don't have access to a actually really good bass player. Okay, I take that back. I do. I have a really good friend who's a phenomenal bass player, but I can't always call on him. He's involved in numerous other projects, so he's not always available. So 99% of the time when I'm making my own music, I am actually using MIDI bass. As musicians and especially metal guys, we tend to neglect bass. Even, look at Glenn Fricker. He's always harping on why bass is always the worst thing to record in the world. And when you don't pick the proper tools and you get a really shitty bass sound, your mix is going to sound really weak and actually just whack. So check this out. We got this song here called A Night with Two Faces by the band called Hive Mind. Everything's really raw. There's no mixing going on yet. Just completely a static mix. And let's listen to really quick the MIDI bass that I was provided. So we're going to go here and check this out. I mean, I'm just gonna come out and say it, that fucking blows. I'm happy that I got provided the MIDI bass, but even more happy that they actually provided me the MIDI so I can use my own bass plugins. But if you're gonna be producing other people, I highly suggest that you get your own MIDI bass that is of the highest quality that you can afford. This is exactly what I talked about in my 5 tips for better MIDI bass video, which I'll link in the description or somewhere around on the screen. And this is going to make or break a mix. I mean, it's just not going to work. Even in the static mix, you guys can hear how awful that sounds. It's just not going to fly. So here is the bass that I'm using. You guys probably seen me use it before, which is Grove Bass from Submission Audio. It's fantastic, and it sounds like this. And it sounds like this. Infinitely better. Now, they have this cool little knob called Humanize, and basically it allows you to add velocity randomization to the MIDI. I actually go pretty crazy with this. I usually put it like one level into bassist mode, which is right here, and then I actually end up going into the MIDI itself and then velocity randomizing this shit too. In this case, the people didn't do that. They didn't randomize this, but this is a really extreme version of, I guess, of deathcore. So I figured, all right, that would be just sufficient for me to do it on the program itself and not actually in the MIDI velocity layers here. But honestly, I do both layers. I'll randomize velocity here and I'll actually randomize the velocity in the program itself. So it's kind of like stacked velocity randomization, so you get more of that human feel. But I just turned up the knob on here so you guys can kind of see how the difference is. And let's just take a listen to that now. So I hope you guys saw that I was switching back and forth between bassist mode and machine mode. It's very subtle, but it's there. And under machine mode, it's a lot more consistent. And under bassist mode, it feels a lot more real. But it's a MIDI bass, so it still has that inhuman feel. But that's why I put on bassist mode. But again, that's another reason why I actually go into the actual MIDI itself and randomize the velocities there. And I spent quite a bit of time doing that sometimes. Sometimes I'll spend like 2 to 3 hours just programming MIDI velocities on the bass to get it to be as human as possible. And there's a few principles that I follow that you guys should totally be aware of. And if you don't know what those principles are, again, go please check out my video on 5 tips for better MIDI bass. All right, so now let's go ahead and I have a rendered version of it because I don't use the MIDI to actually mix. I use the real audio, so I rendered it down to audio. And let's listen to that now with the new bass that I have. And now let's listen to that again with the new bass that I have chosen. All right, now I'm going to switch back to the original bass that I was given. And let me know whether you guys can tell a difference. I mean, damn, dude, that just sounds awful. Here's the my bass that I have chosen. So I really want to emphasize that, like, I know some people may be stuck for money and stuff like that, but if you really want to take this kind of stuff seriously, I highly suggest that you provide your mix engineer the MIDI for the bass and don't render it out if you have a bass that sounds pretty bad, or you save up money and you buy a MIDI bass that is of the highest quality. Again, I harp on this all the time. I really think that Submission Audio does make the best basses out there in terms of MIDI basses, and I suggest that you get them too. I think the one I paid for was like $150, but it's worth it, man. It sounds real, and you don't have to run into that weird fakeness. Now, check this out. This is something I'm gonna leave you guys with. I did not know this, but the guitars are also MIDI. I've never ever mixed a song that had MIDI guitars. I ran it through my amp sim of choice, and I developed the tone for this song that I thought would fit the vibe of it. But I was actually pleasantly surprised at how real the bass, how real the guitar was, even though that's MIDI too, which is really trippy. I would have just assumed they super edited it. That's kind of crazy. And yeah, so really quick video. Just wanted to show you guys the differences between a high quality MIDI bass and a not so quality MIDI bass, and how the not so quality could actually destroy your mixes and make your music sound worse than it deserves. So moral of the story is if you don't have the access to a high quality MIDI bass, when you're providing it to your mix engineer, provide them the MIDI bass and just let them know the circumstances. Or two, save up money and go ahead and buy your MIDI bass. And don't tell me that you can't save money, because y'all have a fucking Netflix subscription. Y'all buying those new video games out there. There's ways to do it. Fucking eat ramen for like a month. If you really want it, you're going to find a way. That's what I did. I would save up money and I would buy the things I need to make things happen. So no excuses out there. Go ahead and make it happen. See you guys in the next video.